One of the nation's largest solar farms caught fire over the weekend as thunderstorms and a heatwave sparked dangerous conditions in New South Wales. A grass fire broke out at Wellington North Solar Farm near Dubbo, spreading across an 87-hectare area. Thick smoke could be seen blanketing the area. The farm's operator says it is still assessing damage to the site. Joining me live now is Dubbo's Deputy Mayor, Phillip Toynton. Thank you for your time. Any wrap-up of, I suppose, first of all, the damage here and environmental concerns in the area?
Oh, thanks for having me this afternoon. So what we saw the other day when I drove out there was that I'd come back from Mudgee. I was coming across, a mate rang me up and said, oh, look, that Wellington solar farm's on fire. So I went out there and we got detoured between the Goulma Road and the Saxa Road. So I pulled up there and I thought, I'll have a video of this. But from what I could see there, it's just thick smoke. I'm not sure what has caused that fire. But this is the stuff that we've got community groups over here. There's Stop Hampton Park Solar Project. There's another group called Stop Boree Solar at Geary. Now, these are the concerns that these residents have got is if there's an emergency like this, how do they know that they're going to be safe? Like, this is out at the back of Wellington where it's relatively rural. But when you look at where they want to build the Boree Solar Project and where they want to build Hampton Park, that's 2-3 kilometres from the centre of town when you look at Hampton Park. So I'm not anti-renewable, but the industrialisation of prime agricultural land's got to stop, and people have got to have a bit better say as to where these projects are plonked. When we say, oh, look, we're concerned about the fire risks, and we're told, oh, no, it'll be right, it'll be right. Well, when stuff like this happens, I didn't see anyone on site that's actually staffing that facility fighting fires. This was all done with the RFS and aerial firefighting operations. So it actually is pretty disappointing that there's not a contingency plan in place. There's no real fire suppression systems. A fellow did reply to one of my comments on my video on Facebook there and said that it didn't look like anything had been damaged because it was entirely operational. That it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. When I saw that, I thought, well, there should have been a noticeable decrease in power, which would have indicated when someone had thrown an isolation switch to not energise the system. But we didn't see that. So I thought, well, these are all things that are concerning to the residents that are around this area.
You've said a few things there. How much is verified? Have you spoken to anyone running the solar farm? What happened and any risk there is at the moment through whether it be air quality, smoke to some of the residents, and what is in place in terms of a fire management system?
So at the moment, the only people that have spoken to me about this are residents in the affected area, a couple of neighbouring properties that have said, a bit scared about what happened. They didn't want the solar farm on their property, so they've sort of opposed it, so they've gone around this particular property. I'm not going to name names. I still haven't heard anything from Lightsource BP, which owns the site out there. But where you have a look at the smoke going across, you've got a chicken farm across the road that was evacuated. They sent their workers home. And then just a couple of kilometres up further, you have the 2 jails at Wellington. So if they had to be evacuated, we're looking at one thing like this solar project that has the potential to impact those around us. Like, I don't think that moving prisoners from one jail to another is an easy process. Now, I have seen in recent news articles that corrective services is short-staffed. They are having a hard time filling these roles. And when things like this happen, it just makes a hard job even harder for these people.
Just quickly, when you talk about not anti-renewable, it's about where they are, like, I suppose anything. If a coal-fired power station was threatened by fire, which I believe some years ago happened in Gippsland, it'd be just as much of a concern?
Well, it would be. Like, as I have said, I'm not against renewable energy in any stretch of the imagination, but I do think that when these people do consider these projects, consideration needs to be given to the actual location that they're choosing and say, well, is this an appropriate spot for this project? I mean, what could potentially be impacted that's neighbouring to these places? Like, have you got residences? Have you got villages close by? Have you got industry nearby?
Yeah.
I mean, a few years ago, like, and this is any kind of project has its element of danger. Like, we looked a few years ago, I want to say it was probably 10 years ago now, there was a fireworks storage facility caught fire, like a bushfire had seeped into the site out at Bogan Gate, and that went up. And you can see, well, the neighbours are obviously concerned about that. So people, there's always going to be a combination of, there's people that are NIMBYs, you know, they're not in my backyard, and there's those who have genuine concerns and says, look, if something goes bad, just how bad can this turn?
Got to leave it there, Phillip Toynton. Appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's an honour to be on your show. Thank you.